the ballet company, most years, there's usually a tour at the end of the season. Occasionally there are tours mid-season as well that will be shorter, but the main tour at the end of the season is 2 or 3 weeks, and we plan it carefully so that those who choose to support the Royal Ballet through the tour can spend some time not only at performances, not only seeing the city that we're visiting, but also meeting the dancers, whether that's at post-performance parties, at a post-performance dinner, or at rehearsals, seeing the company perhaps in class and talking to them afterwards about how they feel about class or a particular rehearsal that they've done. And occasionally on the longer trips that we do, the dancers will spend the day with us when they've got a day off. And that's something that they do happily, willingly and with enthusiasm. And it makes an enormous difference to the supporters who join us to be able to have that time with the dancers. That's why they support the Royal Ballet or the Royal Opera House. It's for the artists. And so to have that interaction with them is invaluable. Most tours, those that we do at the end of the season, are almost all the dancers. Maybe 1 or 2 won't come if they're injured or if they have other commitments elsewhere, but it's most of the dancers. We don't tour with the Royal Opera Orchestra, the Royal Opera House Orchestra, for the ballet tours. We use a local orchestra, and that makes a difference. But all the dancers come, and of course the support team. So that means, costumes and wigs and makeup and crew, technical crew, stage management, all come with us, so that the performances that we put on are absolutely to the high standard that we have here at the Opera House. On the smaller tours, and we've just come back from one to Copenhagen, we took just 22 dancers with a smaller support group, senior stage management and crew and some wigs and makeup, but not the large tour that we would normally do at the end of the season. And we were only away for 4 nights. And that was lovely. So that was a small taster tour, which actually encouraged a lot of new supporters to join us. No. For Copenhagen, it was just me. So we took about 15 supporters came with us, and 1 member of the development team, and usually 1 member of the tour organising team. So that's a freelance, not a freelance, but separate from the Royal Opera House. We work with a tour operator, and we work with different tour operators for different tours. So there would be someone from the tour operator company and someone from the Royal Opera House that goes. When it's a longer tour and a greater number of people, we will have 2 members of the development team going. And that's what happened when we went to Moscow. We were performing in Moscow in June, and 2 members of the team went when the company performed at the Bolshoi Theatre. It was a longer tour. It's a very demanding 10 days or 2 weeks for the member of the development team that is on tour. It's surprising in a way that there are so many new supporters coming through touring. I'm surprised every time it happens. And I would say on balance it's probably about 70% existing donors and 30% new donors. Copenhagen, however, a short tour, was very different. There, I think we probably had more like 70-30 split the other way. And I think that was because it was a short tour. It was easy for people to commit to, because it was only 4 nights away. It was, felt like a long weekend away rather than 10 days away, which, is difficult for some people to fit into their calendars. But it also gave people a chance to test a relationship with the organisation. And it's a very important relationship for us. It's important that all the elements fit together and that it's a good experience for new donors and for existing donors. But it really does an enormous amount to cement and further those relationships. They become deeper. The donors who have come on tour feel as though they're part of the family. And that's really, a great achievement for everybody. We ask those that give at the highest level to join us on tour first, so they have the first right of refusal, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then we will work down the different giving levels, so that everyone is included as long as there is space on the tour. We're limited to a relatively small number. It becomes a completely different undertaking if you take an enormous group. And I know some organisations do, particularly those involved more in the visual arts rather than the performing arts. But I think for our purposes, the tours are so much about furthering relationships and cementing relationships that if you ended up having a very large group, you would lose that advantage. People would come, they'd come to the performances, they wouldn't really get a chance to meet with the artists, and they probably would go away feeling that they hadn't had a very deep relationship with the organisation. It varies very much with each tour. It depends on the venue, and it depends on what has been laid on by perhaps the impresario or sponsors of the theatre, who will be different from the sponsors of the company. Occasionally we have sponsors of the company as well, so they might have certain things laid on. We try to arrange something to celebrate the first night. So there will be either a first night reception, literally just a reception, drinks and canapes, or a first night party, and we will try to make sure there is a celebration at the end of the tour. Now, in between the beginning and the end, there may be dinners with the dancers, or the opera singers, or members of the orchestra if it's an opera tour. There may be occasions where the dancers would join us on a day out, or members of the orchestra or chorus would join us on a day out. We try to integrate different moments when the supporters can meet the dancers, and those are planned out in advance, and obviously with the agreement of the dancers and the administration of either the opera company or the ballet company. The supporters come because not only do they want to support the organisation on tour and be seen to support them, you know, they want the companies to know that they are supporting them, but they also want to get a chance to hear more about what goes on tour, hear more about what goes on in the dancers' lives or the singers' lives. They are genuinely interested in the individuals as well as the art, although obviously the art is the starting point. None of that would work if we didn't have the enthusiasm and goodwill of the performers.
Yeah.
That absolutely is the starting point. They are happy to share those moments with the supporters, and they understand the role of the development department within the arts organisation and support it.